Hey guys, happy shooting. What we've got here is a really great scene. Lovely sky, great sky, lots of rich texture. The foreground is nice and calm. There's not much wind blowing. You might be able to hear the bugs though. Bugs are moving all over the place, tons of mosquitoes. And they're probably zipping and zapping on the microphone there. But who cares about the bugs when we've got a great scene like this? Hey, what I want to do is photograph this scene, get a big foreground, and get a big sky, because I love that sky. It goes way up high. So I'm going to use a wide angle lens. So I've got a 24 tilt shift lens on my full frame 1DS Mark III. And so the 24 takes in a really big view. One of the things though is the view might not even be big enough for me. I love big views, but I want to be able to use filters. I could put on my 17 tilt shift, which takes in a giant view, even more sky, but then I'm going to have a really bright sky and a dark foreground. And then I'd have to take 2 shots in Photoshop, and then I have to merge them together, and it takes extra time, maybe even 3 shots. It's just a big deal. I don't want to spend all that time in Photoshop. So I'm going to use my 24 tilt shift. I'm going to do a little trick. I'm going to use the shift feature. See, this lens can go up and it can go down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it all the way down and take the foreground. So mostly it'll be grass. You can see it'll be all this grass here, and then up to the top of the fence. And then I'm going to shift it up, like bring it right up and get in big sky. And then there'll be 2 pictures, and I'm going to expose them exactly the same. And I'm going to stack them in Photoshop, 2 horizontals like this. So you got 1, 2 horizontals. They're going to overlap by about 20%. They're going to perfectly line up, and then I just drop the 2 layers together. And because I'm going to use filters, I will have exact same exposure for both, and no messing around. So what filters am I using? Well, I'm going to have a 2-stop hard edge ShiftandGrad to darken that sky. I need that sky darkened and the foreground light. So the foreground comes through the clear part, and the sky is going to be underexposed a bit, and it's going to show up darker. So it's going to even out exposure. I've also got a Stingray LB warming polarizer to saturate the reflective highlights on this grass here. So it's a nice drop-in polarizer. Stick it in through the bottom, push this little knob, and then I can rotate the filter around. And I can polarize and unpolarize and drop in the grad as I need it. So I'm ready to go. So what I'm going to do is photograph the scene this way, and you can see I've got a bubble level on here, and I can level the scene, and then I'll take an exposure with my tilt shift lens in the center, adjust the filter exactly where I need it, and then determine the exposure, set my camera on manual, and take the same exposure with the shift of the lens up, and the filter actually stays in the correct place, and then do another exposure with the shift down, and the filter stays in roughly exactly where it's supposed to be. It seems counterintuitive. It seems like it's dropping and rising, but actually it stays on the horizon line, and it's good to go. So I'll demonstrate that in camera in just a second. So hang on and look out for the bugs. All right, we got to hurry because we're losing a little bit of the color in the sky. We've set up the Rebel with the 24 tilt shift on, and we're going to do that trick where we shift the lens down and then shift the lens up high, have 2 horizontal images, and they're going to be stacked to make one big vertical. And so I'll show you how to do that in camera. First of all, just again remind you of the scene, and we're going to try to hurry because the bugs are driving me crazy. The wind's starting to pick up. Wind is nice though, because it takes away the bugs and it makes this grass move. And the nice thing about the moving grass is then we can do tricks like solid ND filter for really long exposures like 30 seconds or 1 minute, and this grass will turn into a sea of kind of painterly color. But let's just work on the straight shot for now, and I will bring out my special filter holder here. This is it. It's high-tech and expensive. A grad filter. Oh yes, don't do this at home. I'm a professional, by the way. And we have the grad filter, and we're going to stick this over the lens, and we're going to darken the sky, and we're going to let the foreground brighten up. So I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll do that shifting up and down with the tilt shift lens, and we'll make a picture and we'll see the end results. Okay, so let's do it. All right, let's throw this grad filter in. It's now full of fingerprints, which again, I don't recommend you do this at home. There's those fingerprints. Ooh, my goodness. So we're going to drop this down, and let's focus that lens first. Oh, there, that's much nicer. I always recommend that you focus your lens first. Again, that's a professional tip. don't let anybody else know. Now, notice that the grad filter really does darken the sky. Now we can take it and go too far, and you see when we go too far that we actually over darken those hills in the background. And if we go too high, it doesn't quite work. So what you want to do is get that optimal position. And if you have live view and depth of field preview, what you can do is, say your lens is at f11 or f16 or something like that for depth of field, push your depth of field preview button in. On Canon cameras, the LCD will brighten up in live view, and you'll see exactly the transition of the grad filter much more distinct. The larger the aperture number, the harder the grad filter will be. So I would actually push in the depth of field button and wiggle it a bit and adjust it like so. So that looks really good. Now all we have to do, wait, checking to make sure that the light's still good. Yep. What we got to do now is shift the lens up and down. On a small sensor camera like this Rebel, watch how far we can shift this tilt shift lens. We can go, watch this. This is the center position. Remember, first of all, take your base exposure here. Figure out your base exposure here. In this case, I'm getting a reading at f11 of 1 second already because it's getting kind of dark. And then I would set my camera manually 1 second at f11, and then I would make an exposure for the bottom part of the frame. Watch how far we can go down. Holy moly, that's pretty amazing. And watch how far we can go up. Like, we can take in a whole lot of sky. Actually, you'd need 3 shots to get this all in. One there, one in the middle, and one down below. On a full frame camera, the extremes kind of overlap more. In this case, what I would do is I'd pick the amount of foreground that I want. Let's say I want about that amount of foreground. Oh, by the way, down in the far corner of the fence line, you see something dark? That's not a bear, don't worry. It's just Brando, my dog. He's helping with the composition. What great placement he has there. And then we shift up for the sky, and I'd probably go like that. And so take that picture and take this bottom picture, and then they drop together in Photoshop. Snickety-boo. That, again, is a photo term. Snickety-boo. Say it with me. Snickety-boo. Alrighty, that's all there is to it. So I'm going to make some pictures and leave the bad humor with you guys. Bye-bye. Well, we finished taking pictures, and I didn't go on the other side of that fence. Notice the sign? Private. No trespassing. No shooting. Well, I did the bottom part. I did the no shooting, but don't tell anyone. And it's time to go. But, you know, our dog, Brando, he's been patient, he's been waiting. Oh, you know, biting bugs, that's what he does. Well, there's something exciting. Alrighty, that's the kind of fun you have when you're taking pictures. Good job, Brando. Nice work.